Welcome to this week's Forex forecast for the week ending January 20th, 2023. My name is Justin Bennett with Daily Price Action, and in today's video, we are going to talk about the Euro USD, the pound versus the dollar versus the yen, and also the USD versus the Canadian dollar. And we're going to wrap things up with the S&P 500 via the SPX 500. Now, one thing I want to mention before I get started, if you were a previous member, now if you weren't a previous member, you can feel free to skip forward to the analysis, but if you were a previous member of Daily Price Action, you are not going to have to join again. You're not going to have to pay again to get in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys an invitation to the new community. You are not going to have to pay. I am behind on emails right now. I know that from the holidays. I received hundreds of emails, and we also just completed a massive site redesign. So that's taken up a lot of my time. Okay, so I apologize for being behind on the emails, but I promise you that you will not have to pay to get in. Okay, if you are a previous member of Daily Price Action, you are already in the community. It's just a matter of me getting around to sending you that invitation. All right, so bear with me. If you have not sent me an email yet and you were a previous member, please feel free to do so on the contact page on the website. If you did send me an email though, there's no reason to send another one. It's just going to tie me up further. So, again, hang tight and I'll get around to you shortly. All right, so with that said, let's take a look at the Euro USD here, which is kind of caught between support and resistance as we move into the new week. All right, so we can see here that 1.078 is currently serving as support. We saw the pair close above it on Thursday and retest that level on Friday. Okay, so you can see that going back here, this has been kind of a pivot for the Euro, where it was support right back here in April of last year. It then flipped to resistance through here. So no surprise that we're seeing some support develop there now for the Euro USD. So what about this trend line up here, right? It's not very apparent here on the daily time frame, but if you look at the weekly chart, this is going to be a level that is very interesting for the Euro because you can clearly see that on the weekly time frame, we have the swing low back here in late 2016, early 2017. And then we also have the swing low from right here in 2020, okay? So two lows through here, we've got the trend line, and you can also see where recently, or right before the breakdown, I should say, we got the retest once again, okay? Support here once again, the pair closed below it, and now it's retesting it as resistance, okay? So not apparent on the daily time frame, but the weekly chart does show that this area right here around 1.087 is going to be resistance for the Euro USD. So it's going to take at least a daily close above that, if not a weekly close, to expose higher levels such as this area right back here for the Euro. Okay, support through here right around 111. All right, resistance. And then we got a little bit of a fake out here right before that sell-off. Okay, so for the Euro USD, pretty straightforward. It's going to take a daily close, if not a weekly close, above 1.087 to expose that 1.11 area. And if we do get a daily close back below 1.078, okay, if we get a close back below this level right here this week, and especially back below this one, this was the previous range high for the Euro USD. A close back below these levels would be bearish because it would indicate that this up here is a fake out and expose some of these recent lows like this one down here around 1.048. But ultimately, the uptrend right now for the Euro USD is intact, the short-term uptrend, but we also have to keep in mind that longer term, this market is still trending lower. I mean, as of right now, this still looks like the impulsive move back here, and this is the correction, okay? So until we start getting levels like this taken out and also this one up here, we have to assume that there's also a chance that this could rotate lower and this could be just one big correction from the recent move down. Next up, we have the pound, which is a really interesting pair right now because we have a couple of things going on right now where we have support coming off of this closing price from back here on September 26th. You can see that we've got this trend line off of that daily closing price, this touch, and also this one. So support right now next week for the pound comes in right here around 1.21, but then below that we've got that trend line coming in right above 1.2, okay? So this is going to be support down here. We've got horizontal support, this pivot right here around 1.21, maybe just above that. I mentioned this one last week where the market did close above it here, and you can see we got a nice retest on several candles and a decent little gain here, although the pound still looks pretty indecisive considering that it has just been sideways here for the past few weeks. Okay, so you've got to be careful because yes, the short-term uptrend is intact. However, at the same time, the market right now is just sideways. And furthermore, this 1.23 area is really interesting for the pound because you can see where it was resistance back here, resistance even through here. We got the close above it, okay, 2 daily closes above that mark, and then we got the close right back below. So that made this up here a bearish fake out, and sure enough, we got the sell-off. Now that only went as far as this trend line, okay, but the question is, do we get a retest here in a rotation lower? Because so far, since this fake out, we have not seen a retest of 1.23 as new resistance, okay? So that's going to be key this week. Do we see a rotation lower from there, bearish price action from 1.23, or do we get a close back above that? Now, for the pound, it's really going to take a close at least above 1.23 to open up this recent high up here. But ideally, we would have to see the pound clear both of these to really break out from this range. Okay, until that time, I think you've got to be careful, especially with that 1.23 level just above Friday's close. Next up is the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. And I love this pair just because of the technicals. And really, I mean, the past year plus, the technicals here have been really, really good. You can see where we had the uptrend for most of last year. The pair broke down through here. And since that time, we've seen a downtrend develop with lower highs and lower lows. Now, right now, that downtrend is still intact as of Friday's close. So you can see here that I mentioned a lot of these levels over the past couple weeks. So before we were looking at this range, okay, between 134.50 and also this support area down here around 130.60. And you can see that we had the market ranging between these two levels for quite some time, very similar to what we got back here. So you can see that we've had a nice stair-step pattern from the dollar yen over the past couple of months. Now, the last thing I talked about here was the fact that we got the close below 130.60. So on Thursday, I said that a close below this level would open up 126.70. And sure enough, Friday came pretty close to that level. You can see that right back here, it is the May swing low from last year. Okay, so this level is likely to serve as support for the week ahead. It is likely to attract a lot of buying pressure. And if we do see a bounce from that level, just like before, okay, just like these ranges we've seen before from the dollar yen, we could very well see a move back here toward this confluence of resistance right around 130.60. Okay, that's going to be a key horizontal level, and it's also the top of this channel that's been intact now for several months. All right, so my guess is if we do see bullish price action from 126.70 and bulls can defend this area, we could see a retest here, maybe a little bit below it, and then maybe we get a move back here toward the confluence of resistance at 130.60. And then from there, it'll be a matter of, do we get another rotation lower back here towards support, or do we finally see the dollar yen break out and re-expose levels like 134.50? The dollar versus the Canadian dollar is another pair that has some really nice technicals. You can see that longer term, ever since 2015, this market has been moving within this sideways equidistant channel. All right, now you obviously can't really trade this unless you're holding a trade for years, which really none of us do, but it does give us a nice kind of perspective on where this market is going potentially and also where it's been. So we know that it recently came off of support right down here. All right, so if this pattern were to continue, then we could see the market continue higher, right? Because we've seen just this kind of back and forth over the past really 7 to 8 years, okay? Now, looking at the dollar CAD on the lower time frames, if we look at the daily chart, this trend line is one that I'm watching this week. I mentioned this on Friday, but you can see where we've got several touches off of this level as resistance ever since July of 2021. And since that time, it has flipped to support. Now, Friday came close to testing this level. However, it didn't quite get there. Okay, so this level right here around 1.33 is going to be the one to watch for the dollar CAD as we move into next week. This is going to be the big support level that has to hold here. If it does, and we get bullish price action from here, maybe something like we saw back in this area. Okay, a lot of back and forth, some consolidation, and then potentially a move back toward this resistance area around 1.35. Maybe just above that, depending on when it's tested. Okay, but alternatively, if we see the dollar, especially the DXY break down and the dollar CAD also break this level here around 133, then we could be looking at a move down here toward this pivot right around 1.322 and potentially lower than that down here towards some of these recent lows. But this would be a big level for the market as well. Okay, so even if we got a break here, you've still got to deal with this level right around 1.322. But ultimately, this is the one that I'm watching for the dollar CAD as we move into next week. And last up, we've got the S&P 500 via the SPX 500. So this is S&P futures, and you can see here on the daily time frame that the market is coming into a massive test in the week ahead. So we've got this trend line off of the all-time high that is undefeated as of now as resistance. Okay, we saw this touch right here, so this enabled us to draw the level, and we've since seen two more areas that got tested, and both of them triggered rejections from this region. So the question now is, do we get another rejection from this 40-20 level for SPX, or do we finally get that close above it to expose levels like 4140 and potentially the swing high from back here in August around 4300? Now, 4140 doesn't look that significant from the daily time frame, but if you look here at the monthly chart, you can see just how significant this has been for the S&P 500. Notice it was support right back here on the monthly. The market closed below, it became resistance, including just last month where we got the retest. Okay, so 4140 is going to matter here as well as 4300, but first, the market has to close above 4020. All right, this is going to be the big test right through here, and support for the SPX, if we do see a rotation lower, is going to come in around 3910. This has been a big pivot for this market for several months. Okay, 3910 has been incredibly significant. We've seen a lot of back and forth from it, but every time we close above it, we get a nice little move. Same thing with the close below. Okay, so 3910 is going to be the support level to watch, and 4020 is going to be resistance. All right, so that wraps up today's Forex forecast for the week ending January 20th, 2023. I hope this video helped. And once again, if you were a member previously, I'm going to get around to you. I'm sending out invitations to all previous members. And if you've never been a member of Daily Price Action, be sure to check out the website, link in the description, and join our group. I'm currently working on a new video course that'll have out early this year, but right now we do have a Discord community where I'm in there, every day, providing daily videos and also commentary on the markets. Okay, so be sure to check that out, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys, if you do enjoy this content, and I will talk to you again next week.